Hard Eyes is coming to movie theaters on February 7th. Hard Eyes is an upcoming American romantic comedy slasher film directed by Josh Ruben, starring Olivia Holt and Mason Gooding. Hard Eyes follows two coworkers working late on Valentine's Day that are mistaken for a couple by the infamous Hard Eyes killer. Now the couple must spend the most romantic night of the year running for their lives. Sounds like a pretty fun film to watch on Valentine's Day, a good movie to bring your date to. Sony will release Hard Eyes in an estimated 2,800 locations. The movie is predicted to bring in around 10 to 15 million opening weekend at the domestic box office, and a total domestic gross of 60 to 75 million on a rumored $10 to $20 million budget. So Hard Eyes might actually make a decent profit. Hard Eyes is being compared to seasonal slashers like Thanksgiving, which was a certified fresh movie on Rotten Tomatoes and liked by critics and audiences. Is Hard Eyes going to be better or worse than Thanksgiving? Critics have already got a chance to watch the movie, and early reviews for Hard Eyes are already out. Let's take a look at what critics have to say about the movie. Gareth writes, "The movie has a surprising amount of intentional humor to go with gore and horror. The movie is at times tongue-in-cheek. It has characters that are more interesting than the usual canyon fodder found in horror films, and helps make the film more engaging. While the final act was a bit by the numbers for me, the mix of comedy and gore as well as the premise and cast made the movie a pleasant enough diversion and a nice surprise." Gareth gives the movie 3.5 stars out of 5. A.A. Dowd from IGN writes, "From the folks behind Happy Death Day and Freaky comes another mildly amusing slasher, Pastiche. This one, a corny romantic comedy that happens to also feature a crazed killer. Though it borrows an actor and a winking tone and an ending from the Scream franchise, Hard Eyes isn't nearly as clever as the best entries in that ongoing horror juggernaut. But it's not without its pleasures, from the sincerity of the lead performances to the cartoonish gore offered by Werewolves Within director Josh Ruben." A.A. Dowd gives the movie 6 out of 10. Megan from BloodyDisgusting.com writes, "Hard Eyes walks the fine line between a 90s slasher with a modern savage edge and a rom-com with a rare white-hot chemistry without ever feeling novel or gimmicky. It's simply a breathlessly entertaining ride that leaves you cheering for love and creative kills in equal measure. Hard Eyes doesn't shake up the slasher or rom-com formulas, but seamlessly marries the two and puts its characters first." Megan gives the movie a score of 4 out of 5. Courtney from Variety writes, "In general, there's a lot of crossover between romantic comedy and slasher scenarios, where gestures and setups that read as sweet in romantic features double as sinister in horror films. Jokes and jump scares are delivered in creative and hilarious fashion. Overall, Hard Eyes makes us swoon and squirm in equal measure. It's a smart, satiating feature that undoubtedly puts cartoon hearts in our own eyes by the finale, or at the very least during the mid-credits coda." Molly from Screen Rant writes, "All in all, Hard Eyes is a fine horror movie. It has a fun and unique idea, and the first act of the movie is very strong, but Hard Eye loses its way and culminates in a middling to bad third act that squanders all the potential of the premise and beginning. There's little reason to catch this one in theaters beyond the fact that it's tied to Valentine's Day, and if you're going to watch it at all, make sure you're a fan of both rom-coms and horror movies. Despite its potential, I can certainly say that Hard Eyes didn't have me making hard eyes at it." Molly gives the movie 5 out of 10. Frank from The Hollywood Reporter writes, "Hard Eyes feels too familiar to prove very interesting, unless you think that a potential victim throwing up on a killer is a novel twist. It's no spoiler to reveal that the killer seems to have been definitively dispatched at one point, since it takes place within 30 minutes to go and everyone knows that he'll soon reappear in one way or another. The method that the screenwriters have devised in which his identity is revealed proves both overplotted and underwhelming, although it does provide the opportunity for one of the cast members to vigorously chew the scenery." Chris from Slash Films writes, "Hard Eyes is solid enough to entertain. The jokes land, the leads are great, and the romance storyline is surprisingly sweet. Ruben's direction keeps everything together nicely, and the kills will likely elicit laughs from the crowd. And yet, by the time Hard Eyes reaches its finale, it all feels somewhat forgettable. I'm glad new slasher movies continue to arrive, and I give Hard Eyes credit for trying to mash up rom-coms with horror. But as the film's entirely clunky third act arrives and gives us all an all too obvious answer about Hard Eyes' identity, the thrill is gone." Seems like most critics praise the film for its witty humor and engaging character, which makes it stand out from the typical slasher fare. It has a lighthearted, almost tongue-in-cheek tone with a surprising amount of comedy alongside the horror. The chemistry between the leads adds to the charm, and the gore is delivered in a cartoonish, over-the-top manner that brings both laughs and thrills. The thing that the critics didn't like about the film was that the movie had a very weak third act and finale and loses its charm by the end. The average score for the movie was 6 out of 10. Are you guys excited to watch Hard Eyes? Let me know in the comments.